Okay guys, we're talking macronutrients. Now, the first macronutrient is protein. You have protein, carbohydrates, and fats. The number one reason why I think proteins are super successful when it comes to anyone getting started on a nutritional meal plan is because you want to be eating foods that A, are going to be nutrient dense, B, they're going to keep you full longer, okay? Satiety is how full you feel after eating a meal. So if I gave you a salad right now and some nuts and an egg versus a salad and a nice piece of salmon right there, you probably would feel fuller longer with the bigger piece of salmon that's in your meal. So here's a rule of thumb. When it comes to understanding proteins, understand that a male and female are going to be having 1 palm's worth of protein, okay? A male can have 2 palms, a female can have 1 palm worth of protein. If you're worried about, is it 6 ounces, 8 ounces, is it 1 cup, keep it simple, use your hand to measure, okay? 1 palm's worth is the amount of protein you should be having. Now, when it comes to proteins, people say, what kind should I have? I like balancing them out, and I like making it sure that a lot of my proteins come from different sources. Now, when you're buying proteins, you want to make sure that if you're buying meats, you can try to get organic meats. If you can try to get grass-fed or free-range game meats, these are going to be better for you because they're not going to have as much pesticides and all these antibiotics that are pumped into the meats, because a lot of the stores want to make them bigger, fuller, and make them cheaper for you. So first and foremost, I always like getting some red meat in my diet. As you can see, these are thin little strip loin pieces. Instead of getting fat steaks that are like 16 ounces or 14 ounces and they're big ribeyes with a lot of fat in them, get small pieces of beef, trim off the fat if you want, and I would say measure them from an adult size. Between 6 to 8 ounces is going to be your best bet, okay? But red meats are going to be higher in iron and also higher in your natural creatine monohydrate sources. Now, red meats such as pork, beef, and veal will take a little bit longer to digest in your body due to the fact that they are a little bit harder on the digestive system than you would with fish and turkeys and other white meats. So after you get yourself some proteins, and again, if you're buying from a butcher, tell your butcher to get you a piece of meat, chop it up in 6 to 8 ounce pieces, and then air seal the bags for you. And I would suggest you do them in bags of 6 or 8. That way, if you're gonna be making a dinner, you can make 8 pieces of steak, you can have 3 or 4 with your family, then you have leftovers for the next day. Next is gonna be your white meats, your turkey and fish, turkeys and your chickens. These you can have in a lot more quantity. If you're having them every day, it's okay because one, they got less fat in them, easier to digest, and I feel they're easier to cook as well. So I got some chicken thighs over here. Try to go skinless if possible. If you're buying proteins or you're cooking your meats, you want to remove the skin because that skin's got that saturated fat. If you're going to be having a small piece of it, especially from the fish, you're okay, but you want to be removing it. So I go with red meats, I go with my turkey and my chickens, then you go into the fish category next. Now, some people get really creative when they make fishes. We like to go kind of basic, maybe some salmon, some cod, some halibut, okay? You can always go with your cans of tuna. Now, whether you buy tuna in oil or in water, if you're gonna be buying in oil, just drain it out so you can add your olive oil in there. If you're gonna be buying with water, no problem. You can also get some jarred fish. My wife loves this, to put them in a cold pasta salad or in a cold salad. So here you got some calamari, some squid, you have some octopus, you have some vegetables, and it's sitting in olive oil. That way, late at night, if you want something light and you wanna have some protein, you don't gotta reach into something that's gonna be heavier for you. Next, we're gonna be moving down to eggs. Now, obviously, eggs and egg whites are gonna be your staple. I always tell people, try to get a big container of eggs. We usually buy the package of 30 eggs and we buy 2 or 3 of these just egg whites, because when you're gonna be having eggs, you wanna make sure that you're having a ratio of minimum 3 whites to 1 yolk for a female and 4 to 5 whites to 1 to 2 yolks for a male. Remember, if you're having an egg omelet for breakfast and you have 1 egg, that's 7 grams of protein. How are you gonna build muscle on 7 grams of protein? Especially if you're an adult. Okay, so I'm gonna have 2 eggs. That's 14 grams of protein. Now, if you're having 2 eggs and you're gonna mix it with a little turkey bacon sausage, or you're gonna have some Greek yogurt on the side, or you're gonna have some protein powder, then that's a different story. But if you're gonna be having eggs, don't be afraid to have eggs. I always suggest to people 1 to 2 yolks per day, and you can go with unlimited whites. If you want to have 4 egg whites, 5 egg whites, no problem. The more the protein, the more the merrier for you. Next, you have your Greek yogurts. Now, keep in mind, guys, whenever people are buying yogurt, the one thing they make a mistake on is they just look for the yogurt and it says low fat. And they'll just buy low fat because they get tricked into it. But what you want to really do here is you want to turn it around, and I'm going to show you the ingredients right here. So you can see that when it comes to ingredients, we got sugar, 6 grams of sugar. We have, where are we here? I'm going to read it from here. 6 grams of sugar, 6 grams of carbohydrate, and you have 16 grams of protein per 3/4 cup. Now, if I grab another yogurt, which is going to be coming with some fruit, and I try to always get the ones that have less fruit, this has got 12 grams of sugar, 13 grams of carb, and only 7 grams of protein. So check it out. One yogurt from this package here, okay? One of these is going to give you 7 grams of protein. 3/4 cup of this is going to give you 18. And 3/4 cup is going to be just over that. When it comes to carbohydrates, this one's going to give you 12 grams of carb. This one's going to give you 6. Okay? So if you're looking at having Greek yogurt in bulk, go with the plain Greek yogurt. Because you can buy 2 or 3 of these, and then you can dump them into small containers, and you can add some nuts, some pine nuts, some protein powder, some cinnamon, whatever you want to get more flavor into it. And now you have quantity. Because the key is having it ready in bulk. Next, you can look, I even have one of these examples for no sugar yogurts for my kids. These have only, I think it's 5 grams of sugar in it, 5 grams of carb as well, I think 4 grams of protein. So they're nice and light. Stay away from the yogurts that have 13 plus. Some yogurts that I saw today had 21 grams of sugar. Horrible. You might as well just have a Kit Kat, enjoy it, right? And then we're gonna go to protein powders, okay? Now, when it comes to protein powders, a lot of people say, I don't wanna have protein powder because it's not healthy for me. Okay, no problem. That's one school of thought. If you're looking for a vegan style protein powder, Vega makes a great protein powder as well. If you're looking for protein powders that come prepackaged, here's an example of ones you can buy from Costco, Premier Proteins. They come pre-ready to go. There's 30 grams of protein, 6 grams of carb, and then 1 gram of sugar. And always remember, when you're looking at the ingredients, take the carb and subtract your fiber. So if it says 6 grams of carb and 3 grams of fiber, 6 minus 3, you got 3 grams of net carbs. Now, here's the thing when it comes to protein powder. And if you're watching this video right now saying, you know what, I want to do this natural. I'm not going to eat protein powders because I don't believe in them. Great. Well, then you better make sure that you're cooking eggs in bulk, making salmon in bulk, making steak in bulk, and you have excess protein throughout the day. Because the typical person that eats 3 meals a day is going to be eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, okay? We're going to call them average Joe and Joanne. Now, when you join Pure Body Type Training, or you're a member of Pure Motivation Fitness, or you want to take charge of your health, you're becoming an active, elite, advanced individual. You're training so you're breaking down muscle fibers. You're putting stress to your body. You're doing it not only once a week, 2, 3, sometimes 5 times a week. So when you want to combat all this stress that you're adding to your body requires minimum 0.7 to 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight to maintain its lean tissue, okay? So for example, I'm a male, I'm 44 years old. I need minimum 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if I weigh 195 pounds, I should be eating 195 grams of protein per day to instill that I have enough protein to maintain what I have. Now, what happens after the age of 35, guys? A woman's gonna lose 1 pound of fat, 1 pound of muscle per year through sarcopenia, the natural muscle wasting or muscle spoiling process. A male's gonna lose a half a pound per year as well. So from 35 and on, metabolism slows down, your body's natural breaking down process of muscle is gonna occur. And if you're not eating protein above the normal and you're exercising, what's gonna happen is your body's gonna break down muscle tissue for energy. And that's a catabolic process. We don't wanna be in a catabolic state. If you ever heard of the word catabolic, it's the opposite of anabolic, meaning anabolic is to grow, hypertrophy of muscle, to expand, and to multiply in size. We wanna be in an anabolic state. We wanna be training, drinking a lot of water, fueling our bodies properly, getting rest, and growing muscle tissue. Being in a catabolic state means you're overly stressed, you're working out extra, you're not eating enough protein per pound of body weight, and now your body says, you know what, I'm not getting enough macronutrients to supply my body with what I need. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna break down some protein and break down some muscle tissue. So that's what you don't wanna do. That's a wrap in terms of proteins that you wanna be having. Now, protein bars that come in packages, any foods that come in packages, I'm not gonna be a big proponent to promote because I'd rather it be something healthier. If it's the choice between a protein bar and a bag of chips, or a slice of pizza and a protein butter cup from Quest or something like that, I'm okay with that. But in general, you wanna make sure you're having your proteins and you wanna make sure you're spending good enough money on your proteins. I always suggest 50% of your grocery bills go on protein. Now you can go to a butcher, you can buy them in bulk, so you can save on money. They can trim the fat from you. They can put them in plastic Ziploc bags for you and air seal them. And remember, protein is used for building muscle tissue, building connective tissue, strengthening your immune system, building up the amounts of satiety you have in each meal. And if you're eating protein every 3 to 4 hours, not only will it keep you fuller longer, but it's gonna spark your metabolism to burn more, because the thermogenic effect that your body needs to break down food is gonna be much different than break down a supplement. For example, I drink one of these protein shakes, I measure my metabolism, I wait 2 to 3 hours. I have 4 ounces of salmon, and I check my metabolism and I check my satiety level. I will feel fuller and my metabolism will be revving far more by having the salmon versus the protein shake. That's all the time we got for proteins. I hope you enjoyed this short episode. And remember, when it comes to cooking in bulk or buying your proteins from the grocery store, allocate about 40 to 50% of your grocery bill to proteins because they're the most required macronutrient of all three and they're the most expensive. Catch you in the next video.